And we're live! Welcome to RockSim Live. My name is Tim Van Milligan. Here in Colorado Springs is where I am today. This is where we talk about RockSim Pro, and the Launch Visualizer. If you're new to us, thanks for dropping in. If you have been here before, thanks for coming back. I do have the chat going on, so go ahead and say hello and where you're watching from, and we'll try to recognize you today. The chat is also for putting in your questions about RockSim Pro, or the Launch Visualizer. This is where we try to answer them so that you become the expert rocketeers that everybody looks up to. So we already got Curtis Howe. He says he's watching from Michigan. Had a great time launching with low power with friends this week. Can't wait to get back to Colorado for high power stuff, even if only a spectator. Yeah, we got a launch tomorrow, and I'm ready for it. Stuart LaFons from Vermont. I am now level 2 certified. Woohoo! Congratulations, Stuart. Memorial Day was some excited rocket. Was a lock IROC on a CTI J357. Went 3,074 feet high. Well, congratulations. That's awesome. Doing a level 2 is a worthy goal, and it is a very worthy accomplishment. That is cool. Let me show you my screen, and let's get started here. Where we go? Here we go. There we go. This is the Apogee website. Our website is apogeerockets.com. When you come here, you're going to see this scrolling banner bar. There'll be a sign up for our newsletter. If you're not signed up for the newsletter, go ahead and do that so you get notified of all the cool stuff that we release. Also, we do a printed, well, I say a PDF newsletter, and we also do videos every week. So you're either going to get a newsletter or a video, and it's going to have really great content. So here's the banner bar for the Launch Visualizer. If you click on that, it's going to take you to our other site, rocksim.com. Here is RockSim 11, and that's our current version of RockSim. And also, we have Father's Day coming up next Sunday, and we're giving away a free bumper sticker. So if you come to our website, you make any kind of purchase, no matter how small it is. If you use that coupon code, DAD2025, that will get you a free bumper sticker. But you have to claim it by using the coupon code, because it doesn't go out automatically. It only goes out to those people that actually want it. So let me go back here to RockSim. Where's RockSim? There's the RockSim. If you click on that one, it's going to take you to our webpage where you can order it. But if you scroll down a little bit, it'll give you a little synopsis of what RockSim is. And then down here is a free 30-day trial that you can test out and see if you like it. And I think you will. I think last week I found out we have 30,000 RockSim users because we pay for every unlock key for the anti-piracy software. And we've now surpassed 30,000. And now we're in the highest tier, and we're paying the big bucks. So, yeah. So please make it worth it by ordering RockSim. We have Guppy Guy from Boise, Idaho. Well, welcome, Guppy Guy. I don't think I've heard your name before. And we have Troy Ermit from Riverton, Utah. Last Saturday, I successfully flew my Katana for the first time and did my first dual deployment. Well, congratulations, Troy. That's awesome, too. Yeah, the Katana. For those of you that don't know what the Katana is, if you just go to the search bar, you start typing in the name, and it will bring up some suggestions. And there's the Katana. And this is what it looks like. And you can see it flies really good. That's what it looks like on the pad, and that's how big it is. It's a 4-inch diameter rocket. How long is it? 74 inches long. So that's cool. It is set up for dual deployment. Yeah, I'm doing more and more electronics myself. It's kind of like almost every rocket I'm flying now has some kind of electronics in it. Even a simple altimeter just to get data. Speaking of which, we have a brand new altimeter on our website. It's called the missile meter. So if you just go on the website and you scroll down here to new products, and there's the missile meter. It's a little tiny altimeter. It's just altitude only. That's all it does, is just displays the altitude in meters and feet. It comes with a battery charger and a battery, 2 batteries actually, plus the missile meter itself, and a nice convenient plastic carrying case. And if you go to our website right now, you'll find they're sold out. We just blew through these things so fast. We had no idea people were going to want a cheap altimeter. So we got more on order, but they are made in China. So it's going to be a few weeks before we get more. Yeah. Thanks to everybody that bought them. It made my day. It made me happy. But now I'm sad that I don't have any more to sell. We'll get more, but it's going to be a little bit. Anyway, getting back to RockSim. So if you go back to the home page and you scroll down a little bit, you get here to the RockSim training every week. And if you click on the image there, it'll take you to the archives. Our archives are a little bit out of date. We're on episode number 201 today. Last week was our 200th. Yeah, we've been going a long time. I don't know, when did we start this? Let me go all the way down to the beginning. There it is. Episode number 1 was in 2021. Wow, we've been going a long time. Ooh. MOB Rocket says, I knew I should have ordered that altimeter yesterday. Yeah, you can't wait on our website. We blow through inventory so fast that if you see something on our website, you better claim it really fast because it may not be there the next day. That goes for anything on our website. We're blowing through rocket motors right now. We're blowing through kits, the altimeters. Our suppliers are having a really hard time keeping up, which is a good problem for us to have. But it's going to be kind of hard in the next couple of months when there's nothing to buy or nothing for me to sell. Yeah, so get it while it's there. We did have, so I showed you the archives. If you go to how-to and guides and come down here to software, over here we have the RockSim video tutorials. Now this is kind of like if you're just starting out in RockSim. So if you click on that, we have some beginner level tutorials like getting started by opening a design and running a simple simulation, because that's kind of like the first thing you got to learn is just opening the rocket and then running the simulation as quick as you can. You got to get that information back. We all want to see the rocket take off and get, how high did it fly? How fast did it go? That's going to get you to that point, in 8 minutes. And then you're going to be off and running. And then we're going to take you through some of the flight profile features, some of the preferences. And then, when you get down to video number 9, then we're going to start designing rockets from scratch. So up to video number 9, it's rockets that are already in the database. In video number 9, you're going to start creating your own. So that kind of gives you a nice foundation on where to go. Yeah. I did get one question that came in by email. I'm still waiting for questions. The chat is open, so go ahead and put your questions in there. It's from David Hayes. He says, I've been trying to determine the effect of various streamers on descent rate. The descent rate for various streamers changes on the screen where you add a streamer to the rocket design. The Y descent rate in the simulation seems to hang around 18 miles per hour regardless of streamer size. Not what I expected. What am I missing? Okay. So let's go here to RockSim. This rocket that I have here currently on the screen is the Estes Vogel. We are going to, we now have this kit in stock, and we're going to start selling it next week. And if you'd like to be one of the first ones to get it from the Apogee website, be sure to subscribe to our newsletter, because those people get the first announcement. So anyway, you can fly a rocket with just a motor in the top stage. I think that's what I'm going to do here. So this rocket has a parachute right, I can't click on it, right there with the P. That's a parachute. And if I go here to the rocket designs, okay, Steiner parachute. I think that's supposed to be Sustainer parachute. Let's change that name. It's an 18-inch diameter. In fact, I'm going to delete it. Okay, so I just changed it, and now I'm going to delete it. First, I'm going to save my design. Okay, so it's saved. I'm going to highlight that parachute there, and then I'm going to hit the delete button, and it's going to say, do you really want to delete it? And I'm going to say yes, because I want to add a streamer, and I'm going to put the streamer in this tube. So there's the tube. You have to, when you're designing rockets, and that's kind of what I'm doing now, you have to associate parts with each other, and it's called the parent chart and the parent part and the child part. And the parent of the streamer is going to be this body tube. This is where it's going to live. So we're going to highlight that. I could put it in any tube, but this is the one I want to put it in. I could put it in down here as well. This right here is a payload bay tube, so that's not usually the place where you put a parachute. You put your altimeter in there, but you'd either put a parachute or a streamer in there or there. I'm just going to select there and then come over here to streamer. And we're adding a streamer, and it doesn't matter which one. I'm going to just start with one, and then we'll just go through the parameters here. So if I go back to 2D, and you can see right there is my streamer. I'm going to change the color of it. I'll make the 2D color red, and I'll make the 3D color also red. Okay, and then I'll go back to the general tab. So now it's red, so now you can see it a little easier. What he's looking at is the descent rate. It's, wow, 600 miles an hour. That can't be right. Okay, so it just needed to be refreshed. So this is a width of 4 inches. I hit the tab. Okay, so now this one is coming down at 38.8 miles per hour. You can change it to feet per second if you want. That's a little bit fast. Streamer, this is a heavy rocket, so it's going to come in fast. And we are automatically calculating the coefficient of drag on that streamer. It has a length of 56 inches and a width of 4 inches. And the descent rate, it shows this streamer coming in with this configuration at 56 miles per hour. So it's 56.9. So let's remember that. And click OK. And now let's do a launch. So we got the streamer here. I got rocket motors in here, but I'm going to take the motor out of the booster stage. So here's my booster stage, and you can tell by this icon right here. So this is the top stage, the middle stage, and if there was a third stage, it would be down here. So this is the booster stage, and I am going to clear that engine out. So I just cleared it out. So now you don't see it down here in the bottom anymore. We still see the one in the upper stage, which is what we want. Under flight events, their staging is. I'm in RockSim Pro, so RockSim doesn't have these staging events. RockSim Pro does, but RockSim Pro, they're kind of similar in the way they're set up. It's just RockSim Pro gives you more capability to change things. And so our booster parachute, it's calling it, okay, so this is the booster stage parachute, which is down in here in the booster, so I'm going to ignore that. The streamer is in the upper stage, and it's going to set to deploy at maximum ejection delay. We'll just use that. Okay, so the starting state, this is launched straight up from a 96-inch launch rail. Under launch conditions, let me choose a different launch site. So I'm going to choose this one in Birmingham, Alabama. And that one has an altitude of 178 feet above sea level. And there's the coordinates, the latitude and longitude. And let's hit the flight profile. Doesn't like that it doesn't have a booster stage. So let me delete my booster. Okay, so that error message saying, hey, I got this other motor mount here, and I don't know what to do with it. So I'm going to change this to a single stage rocket, and then I'm going to delete all of those other components, and I'm going to say yes. So now I went from a 2-stage to a single stage, just so that I could run this simulation. So let's go back here. We got that motor in there. Flight events, maximum ejection delay, launch conditions. We're still in Birmingham, Alabama, and hit flight profile. So this is going to run the simulation. And then it's going to show us what this rocket looks like on the launch pad. So there it is on the launch pad, and this cone right here is called the weathercocking cone. And I'm just zooming out so you can kind of see this is a map of the world. Let me swing north. North is the black arrow here on this pointer. I want to swing it to the top. So north is up here, and my rocket is somewhere in there. Let's zoom in on it again. I think it was right there. And let me tilt it this way. So now we're kind of looking more at the side view of the rocket. So this view right here is this view right here. So I'm just going to turn this view. It's called the mini view. And we'll turn that off right here. And now we're just going to launch it. And the rocket takes off. It's weathercocking a little bit. This is a kind of a very stable rocket. It's arcing over. Still putting out smoke. And there's the streamer. So the streamer is out and the rocket is coming down, and I'm going to drag it all the way back down to the ground and see where this rocket landed. So I'm going to zoom out so we can kind of get the lay of the land. Okay, so here was our launch site. And if you can see this pink line, the pink line is the trajectory. So the rocket started there where my cursor is, and it went up. It kind of arced into the wind. It arced in and arced in. It got to the apogee point. It came down at the maximum ejection delay. It popped out its streamer, and then it came down to the ground right there. All right, so let's look at more data. So that flight looked pretty good. It came down, in the launch field, didn't come down in the trees, so that's good. So we're going to close that. So I'm going to look at this. This was the last simulation, and I'm going to double click on it. And it's going to bring up the simulation details. So this is where we can get some additional information. Okay, so here's the launch guide data. The rocket took off. It reached minimum velocity for stable flight in 137 inches, which we only had a 96-inch launch rail, so it was a little slow coming off the pad. Okay, so range at deployment, altitude at deployment. Oops. All right, so okay, so here's our landing data. The landing speed in the X direction was 15.5 miles per hour. In the Y direction, it came down at 37.8259 miles per hour. And in the Z direction, minus 20. So this is 3 dimensions, so we do have X, Y's, and Z's. I believe the Y direction is our vertical direction. Okay, so we can also graph this. So let's go. I'm looking for Y. We can have a relative velocity. Oh, I already had relative velocity. Do we have a Y? We have XY acceleration, but not speed. So that's all we get is relative velocity. We don't got an ups. This is a little different from RockSim. Okay, let's plot that graph and see, let's clear that. Clear that. So we should just have one graph line on it. Yeah, I stopped it at burnout. Let's stop it at the end of flight data and plot that graph. All right, so what we're looking at is the velocity when the rocket, this is the terminal velocity right here. You can see that right when it hits the ground, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, it's hitting the ground about 47 miles per hour. That's a relative speed. So that's the vector of X, Y, and Z. So it's drifting with the wind, and it's coming down, but it's also got a sideways component. And why does it have a sideways component? I don't know why it would have a sideways component. It should typically it doesn't have a sideways component because it lands with the wind. Okay, let's go in RockSim. See if RockSim is different. Let me do a file save as. Oops. RockSim just popped up. Estes Vogel, single stage. Let me put it on the desktop. Okay, so I saved it. Now I'm going to go to RockSim. And I'm going to open up the same design so we can do an apples to apples comparison. So file open, go to my desktop, Estes single stage. Okay, so there's the rocket, there's the flight simulation. This is the last one that we ran. So let's look at it again, just verifying. Let's go to the design components. Let's go to the streamer. Oh man, it doesn't have very much thickness. I was wondering why the mass was just like 0 here. This shouldn't really matter. 0.2. So that's 2 mil. And we're still getting a descent rate of 53.25 miles per hour. Okay, so we need an F-15-8. Here it is. I went past it. F-15-8. Click OK, flight events, streamer at maximum injection delay, starting state 96 inches, and we're going straight up. Launch conditions, what was it? It was like 100 and something feet above sea level. Let's just put it like 130. Just to get it kind of close. And I had an 8-mile-an-hour wind. And let's hit the flight profile here and see what's going on. Okay, so here's the rocket sitting on the pad. And let's launch it. It's taking off. This is weathercocking like it did before. And it hits Apogee. Now it's coming down, and there's the streamer. And it's now going to drift down to the ground right there. All right, so in this RockSim, we have details right here. And I'm going to back this up just a little bit. Okay, so right now at this point, it's seeing a y velocity of minus 57. Oh, this is feet per second, not miles per hour. Okay, so that's minus 57.5 feet per second. So I need to convert that to miles per hour. But I think oops, cancel. Oh, I did have it in feet per second, 53. So it was coming down a little bit faster in the simulation. So why are these two numbers different? Well, one is this uses the standard atmosphere of density of the density of the standard atmosphere, where in the actual simulation it's using the density of whatever simulation conditions you set up. So that's probably why they're off by 4 miles per hour. Why his was off 18 miles per hour regardless of streamer size. So let's change the streamer size. So now I got a really wide streamer. And I got the descent rate down to 25. Click OK. And let's launch it again. Okay. Looks pretty similar. So let's click on that and go to landing data. That's launch guide data, landing data right here. Velocity of deployment. Here we go. Minus 25.28 feet per second. That's not too bad. That's pretty close. So I don't know why he is seeing that his is not changing, because I changed it there. Let's just go X, Y velocity, and let's go total velocity. Clear that one. And let's go at the end of the data and plot the graph. Okay, so this is the Y velocity is the pink, and the scales are they're different. The velocity has a negative component where the Y velocity does not. And it's just because the orientation, it doesn't care which direction the rocket is moving. Yeah, they look fairly similar. So the pink, it's like minus 25, and the blue is also like 25. So those match. So I am not sure what he is missing. I don't know. Without seeing the actual simulation, I cannot tell. Ah, I hate when that happens. I hate when I'm not able to solve a customer's problem. But sometimes you just need more data. But hopefully that kind of shows you, you can change the streamer, get different descent rates. Um, and when I launch it, I'm getting close, within reason. So, yeah. Let's see if there's any other questions. Purple Haze says, David from Michigan here, and he says he saw someone do an L1 on a Zephyr last weekend. Well, that's cool. I did too, down at NSL. Guppy Guy says, first dual deployment next weekend at the Tri-City, Washington. He is a 3-inch design, and it was designed in RockSim. Well, that's cool. Terry's here from Texas. Purple Haze says, in the sim details, I'm looking at Y velocity. Yeah. Without seeing the simulation, David, I'm not sure. And he says, okay, he'll keep playing with it. Okay. All right, I'm out of questions. What else can we do? What else do you want to see? If nobody has anything, I am going to play. This morning, I got a brand new beta version of RockSim Pro, and 4.2.3 F6. I think everybody else is using 4.2.3 F0. If you go, I don't want that. If you go to the Apogee website, come on. Where is that? You come down here to how-to and guides, come down here to software, and you can go version history. No, 4.2.3 F2. So I got F6. So that's like four new versions ahead of what everybody else is using. Because we're testing it out, testing new features. One of the new features that we tested out previously was the ability to cant fins at specific points during the flight. And if you missed that episode, I think it was 2 or 3 episodes previous to episode 201, which means you'll never find it. So what you would do on that, so here's the fins, and if I go to edit the fins, and if I go to radial position, and there's this new box here called engine cant angle changes. So that means it's going to change during the flight. So right now it's set at 0 degrees. So I'm going to check that box, and it says, okay, what this does is allows me to pivot those fins in the middle of the flight. So I'm going to say, okay. So we have an initial fin cant angle of 0, and then here's the final cant angle. Let's call it 10 degrees. 10 degrees, not 1 degree. And I'll click OK. Let me first show you in 3D. So here is the rocket. Oh man, these fins are just such a terrible color. You can't see anything. So let's change them to something like that. Okay, so there's the fins. And if I zoom in, you can see they're relatively straight along the tube, but if I go back to radial position, and if I go to cant angle, I can grab this rotator, and you can see that I'm rotating the fins. So what this might be good for is drag brakes. So if they're at 90 degrees, Now, when you look at your rocket, they look like that. But I want to start them at 0 degrees. And then in the flight somewhere, I want them to change to 10 degrees. And I click OK. And then when we go to prepare for launch, under flight events, you'll see a new device called FinCant, and the test criteria is, I'm going to delete this one. So I want that to, at a specific time in the flight. So what time should I make it? So let's see, the engine is an F-15-8. If I double click on it, it will tell me the burn time. So 3.4 seconds. So let's say I don't want it to change during the burn. So I need to set my time after 3.4 seconds. So I am going to go back to flight events and say when the flight time is greater than, let's call it 4 seconds, then cant those fins at 10 degrees. And if we launch it, you can see what this is going to look like and see what happens. It's loading the simulation. Okay, let's turn off the mini view down here by clicking that button. Let's turn off the weathercocking cone. And that's in the preferences, and you just uncheck it there and click OK. Okay, so we're going to, at this point, the rocket is sitting on the pad and the fins are nice and straight. And we're going to launch it. Okay, so at 4 seconds, see it's going nice and straight. At 4 seconds, oh, it starts spinning up. Did you catch that? So previous to 4 seconds, so when I get below 4 with my slider bar down here, I don't know if you can see it. Let me move this up a little bit. So at 3.8 seconds, the fins are in that position. At 4 seconds, see, I'm just stepping through, and then all of a sudden the rocket starts rotating. You can see it by the fins, and if you look closely, you'll also see the launch lugs right there and right there. They're also spinning. So that tells me my rocket is spinning up. What's interesting is what does that do to the trajectory of the rocket? So let's see. Let's turn off the smoke because the smoke is kind of in the way. And let's zoom out a little bit. Let's zoom out a lot more. Okay, so there is, let me angle it down a little bit. What I'm looking at is how straight or how curved this trajectory looks. Let's zoom in just a little bit. Boy, that was a lot. All right, I'm going to move it down here so that I got extra room up here. Okay, so the rocket takes off, and it's arcing a little bit, but now, hopefully, I don't know if you can, you can't tell. But it got a little bit straighter. Once it starts spinning, that it kind of like straightens things out because now the forces acting on the rocket don't allow it to weathercock as much. So ideally, we would like to compare simulations. And I just remembered in RockSim Pro, you can do that. If you select 2 simulations and then you hit the flight profile, it should display both of those at the same time. They're going to be overlapping. One of, the one where the rocket spins actually goes a little bit higher if you look at that. It's the second one in this list, which means the rocket wasn't weathercocking as much. When it started spinning, it straightened out and it got a little bit higher. So right now there's two rockets sitting on the pad. They're superimposed on top of each other. You can't see them here. But let's launch it. And okay, did you see that? Okay, up till 4 seconds, everything was identical. Both launch simulations were going identical. Now, at this point, I don't know if you can just see that, but you can see now there's two fins all of a sudden starting to appear. And now there's 6 fins. And now the two rockets started separating. So this is the rocket that's spinning. This is the rocket where it is unspinning, where the fins aren't canted. Now you can't tell by looking at the rocket that the fins are canted. And we did this for a reason. It was to save money. We could display the fins canted, but it's going to cost more money out of my pocket. And so we just want to see if people are actually going to use this feature first before I'm going to spend the money to do it. So let me zoom out a little bit. So now we have the two rockets. So this is the spinning one. This is the unspinning one. And if I put my cursor there, oops, I lost it. Let me go like here. All right, so there's one. There's the other one. So you can see the trajectory changed. This one that wasn't spinning arced this direction, and the one that was spinning kind of arced the opposite direction, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, so that was that feature. That feature works, okay? We have another question that's from the 3D Printing Teen, and he says, how do I get a level 1 certification if I am under 18 years old? You can do that. You need a mentor. Both the NAR and the Tripoli have junior certification programs. So you're going to go to, let me open this in a new tab, nar.org. That will bring you to I'm looking it up on the NAR website. Here's high power. Here's high power certifications. And I'm just looking for, okay, so here's the junior high power participation program procedures. Say that 3 times fast. Participation program procedures. So that's where you'll get the information here on the NAR website. Now be aware, it's a different process for juniors. 1, you have to have a mentor, and 2, you also have to take the test. So when you're a senior member, which means you're older than 18, you don't have to take a written test to get certified. But when you are a junior, you do have to take that test. And I do not know how hard that test is, but they do want you to have some knowledge that you will be able to, look, there's an exam study guide, so you get to cheat and study ahead. So you're not going into that blind. So hopefully that answers your questions, and good luck on your certification. If you need a good rocket, we recommend the Zephyr. So if you go here to our search bar and you hit Zephyr, this is our certification rocket that we like to point people to because it's very robust. It's 4 inches in diameter. It doesn't it's kind of like low and slow. It goes fast, but compared to smaller rockets, it's slower. And it's, got big, heavy 1/4-inch fins, so it's very durable. And yeah, I don't know how. I bet you like almost 2,000 people have certified on this rocket already. I'd have to look at our sales, but this is the rocket we sell specifically for certification, and we've sold a ton of these rockets. So I would recommend that. And as somebody said earlier, they saw somebody, Purple David in Michigan said he saw somebody do a level 1 on a Zephyr last weekend. So yeah, this is a great rocket for certification. Has a nice nylon parachute, heavy duty. Shock cord, comes with the heat shield. Yeah, so that's what I would recommend. And good luck. We're here for you. We are your biggest fan. I can say that. I hope you do it. And if you do, send us a photo because we'd love to post it on our social media. All right, so the next new feature that I want to try out in RockSim Pro also has to do with fins. And this is the flutter velocity of those fins. So as your rocket takes off, it's possible that the fins may start to flutter. It's because they're not stiff enough. So how do you know if they're stiff enough? And so we're building in a new feature called Fin Flutter. And I got that same error message there. Why is it getting that same message? Okay, there we go. I'm going to turn off that and enable Fin Cant. So under the General tab, okay, so this is the new stuff right here. Fin Flutter Speed Calculator. So we need to tell it how high we think this rocket's going to fly. And what would we say we were, like 2,000 feet? No, it was 1,048, I think. So I'm going to change that to 1,000 feet. The shear modulus is a material property. Let's change the shear modulus. Okay, so I don't know if you saw that, but watch this fin flutter speed. This is in feet per second. So, so if it's 900, about 9,000, and this is in PSI or KSI. So right now our material is birch. So let me look on the internet. So let me go to, it's like shear modulus of, I don't want steel, I want birch wood. Okay, so 0.039 gigapascals. Well, how do I convert that into PSI or KSI? So I think, so this is why this is a beta version. It's kind of like we're testing this stuff. What the heck did that open up for? Clicked on the wrong thing. Birch plywood. Interesting. So this is where you would find it. So my units are wrong here. KSI. Why is that? Okay, so I got megapascals. For example, Chinese birch, a specific species, has been reported shear modulus of 0.075. Explain this. I like this feature. Is it going to explain it? I don't know what that means. Anyway, so I need to have a shear modulus. And so, you know, basically the purpose of this is, okay, so once I know my shear modulus, let's call it 15,000. Oh, that's like way high. Let's put this in miles per hour. Why won't it change to miles per hour? Okay, that's bug number 2. Let's call it 6,000. That tells me that my rocket would have to go 2,743 feet per second before it would start to flutter. So if this number is lower, that number is lower. So now we're getting into the transonic region. 200, let's make it 100. So that's, yeah, it's possible to get that fast. Let's go even, like, let's go 50. Let's go 20, 10, 112 feet per second. Okay, so click OK there. And it crashed. That's another bug. That's bug number 3. This is why we're testing things. Yeah, we don't want that to happen. That I reopened. There it is. It's reopening. I want to leave that bug report there because I want to send that to the programmer. Let's see if we can get it to crash again. Let's see if there's any questions that came in. 3D Printing Teen says, I just built a rocket and it's great. Rocket. It's cool. Yeah. So there was another feature that we were working on. What was that? I'm trying to remember that so I can at least give it a try today. Let's try a different launch, different design. I want something that's going to go fast. Let's go with an Apogee Aspire. Because I want something that goes fast. All right, so rocket design components, fin set. All right, so now this is different because these are trapezoid fins where the other one was a custom fin. So you can do different shapes. So that's why the screen looks a little bit different. So let's see if does this one work? This one seems to work here. So when the rocket hits 211 miles per hour, we would expect the fins to fail. Okay, so let's click OK. I did this the last time, and this is where it crashed. But this time it didn't crash. Let's run a simulation. Let's load engines. Please select the engines. I want something big with high thrust. So choose an engine. Show only that match the motor mount diameter. So this is 29 millimeter. Ooh, here's a VMAX. Let's call it a 14-second delay. Click OK. And under flight events, streamer at, oh, this one has, let's say, never deploy the parachute. And the streamer is going to deploy at maximum injection delay. which is fine by me. Starting state. So again, 96-inch launch rail going straight up. Launch conditions. So I chose a launch site, and I can't remember where it was. That was Birmingham. Rocket Boys. Click OK. And let's go flight profile. See what happens. It's landing pretty far away. It went 2,908 feet. No, 3,054 feet. The maximum speed was 722 miles per hour. So that's getting in that transonic region. So, and it's going to be in the air for 85 seconds. So, whew, that was fast. It took off like a rocket. It's coasting upwards. The fins are still attached. Maybe that's what we should do. If it goes too fast, it has the fins come off. That would be cool. That would be really cool. Fins come off, and I bet once the fins are off, what's it going to do? So this is landing right on the interstate right there. That's not a good place to land a rocket. Let me tell you that. But it took off. Like, here's the upward trajectory, and it took up. It's going straight as an arrow. Then it comes over the top, and then it comes down, and then it lands right there on the interstate. And so the fins are still attached. Let's see now. CD analysis, ejection charge calculator. Okay, so let's go here to the detailed flight report. Let's see if we've got any indication that the weather cocking is good. In the simulation. Okay, here's our maximum velocity. Okay, so the Y. Looks fine. Successful landing, rocket mass. Failures. Okay, so yeah, we should have something in the failures saying, hey, to the fins. So here, our maximum velocity was in miles per hour. So 722 miles per hour. And we said that the fins, the flutter speed at, this was in miles per hour. So 200. So these are probably going to flutter. But we need to have some kind of indicator telling us that they are going to flutter. Yeah, interesting. Very, very cool. Click OK. There's another new feature. Let's see if it's in here. CD analysis. No. It was here. Under replay your flight. I do not think we've... Okay, so here is the new feature. It's going to calculate the coefficient of drag on the rocket. So in one of my previous videos, so if you go here, and if you go to how-to and guides, come down here to videos, and video number 436, was how to determine your coefficient of drag on your rocket. And I go through a process and I give you a spreadsheet that you just fill in the spreadsheet and it will come up with the coefficient of drag for your rocket. And in that video, I said, we should do this in RockSim. And that's what we're going to do. And so that's the other new feature. In order for this to work, though, you do need a recording altimeter that records acceleration. And it's also going to give you a CP value of where that center of pressure is. And that one's going to be a little bit, it's based on data, but I don't know how good the data is. So that's kind of what we're working on. We also have replay your flight. I think we released that in that last version. Let me see if we released that. Let's go back to the Apogee website. Go to How To and Guides. Go to Software, Version History. Yes, we did. Replay your flight. So if you have an altimeter such as a Blue Raven, a Blue Jay Plus, or a featherweight GPS tracker, you can replay the flight. And the best data is from the tracker, because that gives you GPS coordinates. But with the accelerometer data from the Blue Raven or the Blue Jay Plus, we can actually calculate the coefficient of drag of the rocket. But I need to be able to upload a file, and the motor that you used on that specific flight. We have to work out the user interface with it a little bit, but it will be really cool to be able to calculate the coefficient of drag of a rocket based on actual flight data, because that's the best data there is. All right, so we are at 3 o'clock, and I don't have any other questions. There's a lot of people here. Currently, it shows 16 people. So thank you for watching live. But this will be available on YouTube, and you can stream it at your leisure. And so those of you that are watching on streaming, thank you for coming. Again, for everybody, please, 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 I beg you to subscribe to our newsletter. Again, you can go to the homepage and come over here to sign up for our newsletter, and it'll take you to a sign up page, and we'll get you on that list. And as an ethical bribe, we've got a 2-volume set of plans. Each volume has 25 plans in it. So you get a total of 50 free rocket plans. And this is some really good stuff. I mean, there's, do I tell how many pages of information? I bet there's over 200 pages. I think each book is over 100 pages. They're PDFs, so you download them and you print them out. So you just page through it until you find a design. So it's really cool for giving you new ideas for your own rocket designs. All of them, I think all of them have RockSim files that you can download. So you can see how to use RockSim when you're designing your own rockets. So again, subscribe to that newsletter. That's like really cool stuff. And then also newsletter subscribers get first announcements of the new products, like that new altimeter that just came out that we sold out. Only the people that had the newsletter probably knew that it existed. So be sure to get that. Yeah, so I think that's all I have for today. We are launching tomorrow here in Pueblo. If you're in the Colorado area, come on down to Pueblo. It's supposed to be a gorgeous day. And we've been getting a lot of rain, so there's no fire ban. So I'm sure they're going to allow the Sparky motors. Everything is green, which is really cool. My grass at my house is that tall. And every day it rains, and it rained again this afternoon. And I don't cut it when it rains because it just clogs everything up. So it's getting really long. Tomorrow after the launch, I think I'm going to have to finally mow it. I don't think it's supposed to rain at all tomorrow, so that's cool. So thanks again for everybody being here, and I'm going to give you a countdown and we'll get out of here. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, launch.